Howdy, everybody. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, Philip, for inviting me. This is a great event. I've never been to a conference where there is a bar right there. So yes, a drink, please. Let's see, do you make vodka Red Bulls?
You mean with alcohol or without?
With or without, anything. I've never had a bar. Anything you make actually is better than nothing. So thank you very much. What I'd like to talk to you about today is about a scientific approach to viral marketing. I teach a course at Harvard Business School on digital marketing strategies, and I do research on the economics of attention. So I share very much with Gary the idea that attention is very important. Unfortunately, differently from Gary, I cannot say the F word too much in class. So let's start. Why viral ads? I've asked this question to many people in companies. I write cases, I go to companies, I ask this question many times, and I see different answers to this question. The one that ultimately dominates is the following. If you think about traditional television advertising, there are two elements of advertising, very basic elements. You have to create the content, you have to create the ads, and you have to distribute it, right? You have to get media. In the case of television, you have to pay for media. And so it costs between $100 and $1 million in the United States to make a good television ad. In terms of distributing this content, it can cost as much as $500,000 to put this ad in prime time for 30 seconds in national American television. So lean advertising is a way to save this money. You can save it in two forms in terms of creating content. You can create your own self. You can do, for less than $10,000, you can create a video, or you can do professional crowdsourcing with between $10,000 and $50,000. For distributing the content, you can also save money. One form is inbound marketing by having customers come to you, and there's many analytic companies that help you do that for a few $1,000s, and viral ads that can, although many think that it's free, successfully creating a viral campaign can cost you as much as $250,000. But the answer to why viral ads is to save money. When you go higher up in the organization, the CMO says, oh, it's fun, interesting, sharing all of this stuff. The idea is to save money. Now, why a scientific approach to viral advertising? The traditional way, if you want to understand how something successfully is done, you look at the best practices. So you can look at a list. Here I brought the list of the top 5 ads that went viral last month, compiled by Visible Measures. And you can just look at the top ones. You can watch the videos, and you can kind of pick out the elements and say, oh, these elements are probably the ones that were responsible for ad to be successful. And others have done that before. They go and see, oh, this ad has kittens, has puppies, has babies, therefore you put kittens, puppies, and babies, and your ad is more likely to go viral. Unfortunately, that's not a scientific approach, and most of the time it will fail. There are more ads that don't go viral that have babies, puppies, and kittens than there are ads that go viral that have babies, puppies, and kittens. So that is not the good way to do it. I'm going to show you another way, but the answer to why a scientific approach is to do it consistently. Your CMOs of companies do not want one viral success. They want something they can use again and again and again. And television is reliable in that sense, much more reliable. So understanding how to be sort of successful again and again and again with viral ads is very important, and that's what will be my approach. The data that I used for this research, I've done it for for actually 2 to 3 years. I've collected data on TV, online, viral ads, 173 ads in total, many different industries, cars, confectionery, electronics. There are 2,000 consumers that I've shown ads, and I tried to get their reactions, as well as more than 7,000 viewings of these ads. So it's a pretty big data set that I've compiled. Many of these companies that you see here provided input into my findings. So if you're from one of these companies, I thank you very much. And so let's go through the process, right? Science is a process. So what I wanted to understand is what is the process that makes an ad go viral? And lo and behold, this is sort of the process that I came to. For an ad to go viral, first it has to be viewed. No big issue there. First, you have to attract people's attention. If you don't, an ad will not go viral. After that, you need to retain people's attention. Just because you got their attention doesn't mean that you're going to retain their attention. almost always only ads that are viewed until the end are shared. So you need to retain attention, then there is the component of sharing. You need to get people to share. There's two broad qualitative ways for ads to be shared. One is what we call narrow sharing, when I share it with 2 or 3 people. Then broad sharing is when I share it with 50 people, let's say on Facebook. So what I'm going to go through now is each of these steps in the process. For an ad to go viral, you have to go all the way, but there are important elements of each of these steps. So the first one is how to attract attention. What I wanted to do is, basically I wanted to understand what causes people to look at ads. Why do they look at ads? What do they look at when they're looking at ads? What I did is I got a bunch of people, I brought them to my lab, and I showed many ads to many different people using an eye tracker, which can allow me to understand where people are looking at. So what I'm going to give you an example is one of these ads that I've shown. So what you'll see is an ad. On the right side, you'll see a graph. It's a decay graph of the percentage of people they're still watching the ad, because each person, I gave them a remote control and say, if you don't want to watch this ad until the end, click and you can go to the next one. So you'll see that these numbers start at 100% and they go down over time, because that's the number of percentage of people that are still watching the ads. On the bigger screen, what you will see is the ad being shown. Each person saw an ad once, and a yellow dot corresponds to the location of their eyes. I apologize because this ad will be a Dutch ad. If you don't know Dutch, neither do I, but just serves as an example.
Katoenen polo, nu 6,95. Leren muiltje, nu 27,95. Capribroek, nu 11,95. Katoenen rok met zijzakken, nu 9,95. Singlet, nu 8,95. En geld over om buiten de deur te eten. Scapino, dat loont.
28% of people watch this ad until the end. You can see that each dot is a person's eye. Different people watch the ad at different points in time. I just aggregated the data. And there's a scatter of dots, right? Everywhere. People are looking at different things, at the price, at the brand, at the pan being, the pan lid flowing away. What I really wanted to understand when I showed many ads to many different people, and these are the graphs, the similar graphs of the percentage of people still watching during the duration of the ad. Most of them were 30 seconds. So here you have 4 examples of ads: McDonald's, MasterCard, a bank, and Hyundai. And what most struck me as interesting was actually these cliffs in the ad, in the graph, right? A cliff means, for example, if you take the Hyundai one, it's almost the same amount of people are watching, and then suddenly there's a point in time in the ad, and this thing goes down, meaning lots of people start skipping at the same point in time. You can see it for the bank ad, for McDonald's, MasterCard. It's reducing slowly, and then it falls fastly. My question was, what causes these cliffs? Because if we can avoid these cliffs, we can avoid the fact that so few people finish watching the ad, like the bank. 30% of people watch these ads until the end. So I asked myself the question, and I knew the answer, right? All I have to do is go into these ads and look at what are the images being shown in these screens. Lo and behold, what I saw was every time there was a cliff, the brand logo came out.
No way.
It just popped out, right? And you can see it's not just the fact that people know what is the advertiser and they say, I'm not interested, because, for example, the Hyundai ad, the logo appears 3 times, and every time it appears, more and more people fall out. So for the second and third round, everybody already knows that it's a Hyundai ad. Still, people are going away. So what I found is the following, and it's a basic principle of persuasion. People don't like to be persuaded. They have a negative aversion to being persuaded. This is instinctive. If I try to convince you something, your first instinctive reaction is just to pull back. And so when the brand appears, that's the most forceful attempt at persuasion of advertising. So if you have the brand, people are more likely to say, hold back and move away. There is a solution actually to this, right? One of the solutions was don't put the brand in your ad, but then why are you going to advertise in the first place? A solution that I found is called brand pulsing. which is, if you show the brand multiple times, but very brief instances every time you show it, people will get used to the brand, and they won't see it as an intrusive attempt to persuade. So let me give you an example of a very successful Coca-Cola ad that actually does this. And I'm going to count with you the number of times the brand appears, just so you see that the brand appears many, many times. 1, there it is. 2, in her hand. 3, the bottle. 4, 5, 6, 7, and you get the picture. This ad is very successful, and the brand appears 17 times, and the vast majority of people watch this ad until the end, and this is one of the most successful ads in terms of ratings. So the major takeaway here is that viewers unconsciously avoid ads with intrusive branding, right? And they tend to watch the ads that post the brand, that aren't intrusive in the way they present the brand, like putting the brand logo for 5 seconds right up front. So given that you were able to post the brand and avoid people leaving, you got their attention. Now you need to retain their attention until the end of the ad, right? You got their first seconds, now you need to get them to watch the ad until the end for the ad to even begin going viral. How do you do that? Basically, what I did is, I said, advertising is about emotions. I need to understand emotions. Let me film people's faces while they're watching these ads in my lab. They can switch the channel if they want to. And what you'll see here is an example of one person watching one ad for an American fast food chain called Carl's Jr. And in the top, I overlaid a graph that can evaluate the types of emotions to the left, as well as the intensity on the graph on the top of the primary emotion that I was interested in this advertisement. And let me give you a chance to see it and guess what is the emotion that this ad is evoking on this girl.
Big bite, man. Yeah. Jeez, watch that. Wow, is it a booger?
Look at her face. Look at how the graph is
Man.
picking up.
I'm seriously gonna throw up. Oh, okay. Oh. Oh, okay. What are you looking at, man? Oh, that is way too much ketchup. Oh.
Look at her face. Peek in the
Man,
graph
pickle
again.
in soda, are you kidding me? How many pickles are in that damn thing? Oh, jeez. Oh. The all-new Carl's Jr. Oh, what are you doing, man? No. Oh.
So what was the emotion? Disgust, right? You can see disgust in her face, and the graph was picking up disgust as she was showing it. This is what we call facial expression analysis, and this allows me to understand what type of emotion the person's feeling, when he or she is feeling, and how intense they're feeling. So once I compiled this data, showed many ads to many different people, I wanted to basically answer the question, which is, if I could plan a perfect ad and I had full control of people's emotions, let's say I want to make a humorous ad, so I'm trying to evoke the emotion of joy. And I have a 30-second ad here, and I want to populate this graph by figuring out what is the trajectory of joy that I should be evoking to maximize, to increase the chance that most people will watch the ad until the end. So the game is simple. The maximum amount of the emotion, humor experience is 100%. I want to trace this graph to imagine what is the profile that maximizes retention of viewers. One way I thought is, well, let's make an ad that has no humor, and then it spikes up at the end, right? You're waiting for the joke, you wait, you're not wanting to switch the channel, and you get this great joy feeling at the end from the humor. The alternative was, well, what if you just start as high as you can, increase, try to get this big punchline joke in the beginning, and try to maintain it. It's hard, but maintain it maximum that you can. It turns out that neither of these two paths of joy is the one that maximizes the amount of people that watch an ad until the end. What maximizes is this, what is optimal, what we call. A format in which you increase joy and then you decrease it Increase it again, decrease it. Increase it again, decrease it, right? And the reason this works is because there's a psychological phenomenon that's called adaptation. We adapt to everything, good and bad. We adapt to higher salaries. We adapt to making more money. We adapt to eating better. We adapt to being in a warmer temperature or colder temperature. And so adaptation is part of all human process. And if you just provide too much humor, too much emotion all the time, people tend to adapt. And then they don't see how important it is to keep watching the ad, right? So what you have to do, and this is counterintuitive, is you can't let them adapt. You have to provide joy, and then you have to take it away from them. Because then you can provide it back to them. And then you take it away, and then you provide it back to them, and then they are hooked, right? If you want to do the experiment at home, do it with kids. Give them a bar of chocolate, a full bar, and say, eat the full bar of chocolate, then tell me how happy you are. Or then give them a little piece, and then another one, and another one, and another one. Giving piece by piece the chocolate, people actually enjoy the experience better. Same thing with delivering humor over time. So this is what I call the emotional roller coaster. And so building an emotional roller coaster actually helps, increases the chance that people will watch an ad until the end, because it breaks away from adaptation. All right, so we got people to pay attention to the ad. We retained them by putting the emotional roller coaster. Now we need to get them to share this ad, right? How to trigger sharing. Basically, since I had all of these responses, these emotional responses to these ads, I wanted to look at what is the best emotional response. Turns out 90% of all viral ads are humor, so I focused on humor. And when focusing on humor, I found two distinct types of reactions in different ads. The one to the left is what I call the pure humor, just a smile or a laughter. The one to the right is a shocking type of humor, the one that goes, ah, and then you might laugh or smile. I ask you, if you had to choose one emotion to evoke in your consumers, everything else is the same in the ad, which one do you think is more likely to get the ad to be shared with other people? The one to the left? Raise your hands if you think the one to the left, pure humor. Very few people. The one to the right, what do you think? Okay, so let's see what were the results. So I'm showing you different types of content. I separated ads that have no humor, ads that have pure humor, and ads that have the shocking humor. And the y-axis is the total reach, the amount of people that were reached. And I put it on an index, right? So let's say ads with low humor get, on average, 100 points of reach. What I found is that pure humor ads get 3 times as much, and shocking humor ads get more, but less than the pure humor ads. So most of you were actually wrong. The pure humor ads tend to get more sharing than the shocking type of reaction. And why is that? When I went back to the data, what I found is that the shocking humor gets more people to pay attention, more people to watch the ad until the end. But conditional on viewing, it gets less people to share it versus the pure humor. The reason, well, shocking humor is not known whether I'm going to share this with somebody. Are they going to like it or are they going to dislike it? So if that question comes into my mind, then I may hold back and prefer not to share it. I'm more likely to watch it, but sharing is another issue. The pure humor, it's pure. I like it, everybody liked it, there's no reason why other people wouldn't like it, so these ads tend to be shared more. So evoking pure humor, while others might say that the edgy, shocking type of humor works best, the data actually shows otherwise. So pure humor drives viewing and sharing, whereas shocking humor drives viewing but inhibits sharing. So now what explains the viral success, right? Extremely successful viral ads. What I did was I wanted to understand the role of the brand. Does a powerful brand matter? And in the y-axis, you see the explanatory power, the percentage of explanation that is due to this factor, right? And what you see here is in the viewing stage, brands matter. So a Apple brand or Samsung brand is more likely to get people to view an ad than an unknown or unliked brand. But conditional on viewing on the other stages, on selective sharing and broad sharing, there's actually doesn't matter at all. So if you have an unknown brand and you can get people to view, The fact that you have an unknown brand doesn't matter. Emotions, on the other hand, matter in all throughout the process, right? They're very important, and in each state of this process, emotions matter. But what was striking to me was that I measured people's personality when they came to my lab in different methods, and I'll show you which ones, which dimensions. And it turns out that personality matters a lot, particularly in broad sharing with many, many different people. So for getting viral ads to be viewed, content is still king. But for sharing, the sender is a very powerful queen. So how do you trigger broad sharing? I tested two very important dimensions of personality. Are people extroverted or introverted, right? Extroverted, do they talk? Are they expansive? Do they like partying, things like that? Versus introverted, are they more quiet? And I tested also the dimension of altruism. Do you like doing things for other people? Do you care about what other people think or feel? Or are you self-interested? Do you care about yourself or how you feel? So there's these four quadrants. I ask you, if you had to pick people to get ads to go viral, to send them to, which one of these four quadrants would you prefer? High extroverted people, self-interested, high extrovert people, altruistic, introverted and altruistic, or introverted and self-interested. So number one, what do you think? Those people? Number two? Number three? Number four? Okay, so most people went for the number two, extroverted and altruistic, right? So let's see the results. So that I already shown you before. Humor ads that are sent to extroverted people get almost 4 times the baseline. So extroversion is good. People more expansive, like to talk, also like to share. But altruistic people, on the other hand, they're less likely versus self-interested people to share. And what I found is that while we think that people share ads with each other because they say, hey, I like this is funny, I'm going to be nice and I'm going to share it to you because I think you're going to like it too, and it's for your own benefit. In reality, most people share things for their own self-interest. So ads that are humorous, that are people who are extroverted and self-interested are the ones most likely to propagate these viral ads. People who are propagating viral ads to many, many different of their acquaintances do it for self-interested reasons. And let me explain you how I thought about this analogy of viral ads are more a result of self-interested than altruistic sharing. And let me show you the Groove Build Toucanet from the Amazon, and he's eating a seed. And the analogy that I like to make is that when the toucanet eats the seed of this tree, the way that this tree can propagate their seeds is by creating something fruity and putting the seed inside. The bird very self-interestedly eats the seed for its nourishments, flies away, the seed goes to the digestive system, and then comes out, and then a new tree is born far away. The bird is not trying to help the tree in any way. The bird ends up self-interestedly helping the tree by eating the seed and getting the nourishments. So this is what in nature we call symbiosis, mutual benefit. The tree is trying to propagate, the bird is trying to get nourishment, and both of them are helping each other, but from a very self-interested perspective. So advertising symbiosis, brands spread, and consumers who share, they gain this social benefit. When you look at a few examples of the past, the Old Spice guy, very famous viral ad, he actually said names of people in many, many different little 30-second or 1-minute ads. The self-interested people saw those names. Hey, that's me. I'm going to share it for my own benefit. Right? The Dumb Ways to Die campaign, 3-minute video, 74 million views. Why was it a successful ad? Part of the reason is when they created the campaign, they just left the campaign there in many different places on the internet. They didn't communicate or promote the ad. They let self-interested people find the ad, be the first to talk about it, to say to their friends, hey, I found this really new content. I am the one who found it. I am the one that is sharing it with you. And then lastly, Dove Sketches, a very successful campaign with 55 million views. talks about sort of real beauty in women and sketches women. At the end of the ad, this is the only tagline that there is. You are more beautiful than you think. There is absolutely interest in certain men and women to tell their daughters, their sisters, their mothers, this concept that you are more beautiful than you think. So self-interest is not a bad thing. It helps these ads to effectively go viral. So enabling social goals. Let sharers use the ads for their benefit in case of Dove. Make them the center of attention in terms of Old Spice. And let them find you with Dumb Ways to Die. Them, their, them, right? This is a way for the viral process to go. So viewing the first way to get an ad to be successful, you need to get people to pay attention to the ad, to watch the ad until the end, and then you need to get them to share the ad. Hopefully, if you find the right people, they will share the ad until the end. I don't have time to talk about persuading, but you can go to my website, my Harvard Business School website. You can Google me, and you can find examples to understand how persuasion can happen. Once you got an ad to go viral, how do you get actually persuasion in terms of people to buy the product, which is the purchase phase? So I'm going to skip this. And show you that the viral process is important. And it is a way to get companies to systematically create success at a low cost. That's ultimately what matters. It's not about being funny, tongue-in-cheek, all of these things. That might help, but ultimately it is about this systematic approach. This approach is not an approach to shoot for the stars. You are not likely to get the 50 million views, this amazing new ad that will go all across the world and is just a unique piece of creative content. It is not supposed to do that. It is an approach to rather get companies to save money and do that consistently. I hope that you've learned a little bit about consumers and human emotion in this process. Even if you're not creating viral ads, I think this is valuable for anybody to understand these basic emotions. So thank you very much.